the number one quality of an action superstar in a movie, the number one quality, the one you can't replicate. Because, this guy kicks ass. Jason Statham, throwing punches, throwing kicks, throwing elbows. Like, okay, but that's what you do all day. And there's literally thousands of guys on the planet now who can throw elbows and knees and, do all the stuff they do in their fight choreograph.
Definitely
right?
trying to increase that percentage with my coaching.
Yes. And then they show Tom Cruise running all the time. He's running. But there's thousands of guys who can run faster than Tom Cruise.
Millions, maybe.
He runs hard. For some reason, it's a big deal to see him run. I don't know why, but it's just he runs.
It's a meme. We've all gotten used to it.
He likes to run.
He had good form in his early days.
He pumps his arms. He runs.
His arms, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, here's the number one thing they never talk about, and it affects all action superstars. And it's the most unrealistic thing he does. It's not driving. It's not firing a gun. It's not kicking ass. It's not running. It's not jumping. It's none of the stuff they show. It's the grip. The grip. This guy just hangs off the side of an airplane. I saw those Afghanistan guys trying to get on that C-130. None of them are here in the States. None of them made it past 700 feet. Not this guy. He hangs on to everything all the time. He hangs off the side of the building. He hangs off the side of multiple airplanes. There'll be a scene, if they did a scene in real life, if they said to Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham and all those guys, could you simulate a fight right now? They'd go, yeah. Paul, could you run right now? Yeah. What if I took a rope and just chucked it off the top of this 28-story building? You think you could dive out and grab it and swing back up? No, not in a million years. The craziest thing he has is grip. Yeah. Grip. And all action stars have grip.
In every scene.
And they also have some sort of superhuman grip.
Yes.
Because the fight is the fight, but there are a lot of guys who can fight. The running is the running. Every kid can run. The driving the car, I can drive a car like that, but I can't slide off the side of a blimp when I'm on the top of the blimp, slide down the side and grab a light marker with one hand and pull myself back up. That I cannot do. Nobody can do it. It's all grip. And they always talk about, oh, come on, this guy kicked the ass of this karate master, or he beat up 5 guys at once. Okay. It's still under the realm of believable. The grip. And if you just said with Tom Cruise, look, we got to delete all the grip-based scenes in Mission Impossible, every movie would be 14 minutes long and there'd be no franchise. Every movie's him. He could be on the side of an airplane or he could be sliding out of a train car. Oh, grab. Never misses, by the way. He never misses. I don't even know why the people around him are ever concerned, because it's like, oh, look at him. Never misses the grip.
There's a handhold.
It's always a grip. It's grip. Yeah. All the other stuff you can do, not the grip.
An overhand on the wing of a biplane.
He's constantly gripping things. Yeah. And I don't know where he gets that kung fu grip. But that, and they do it with other stars too. Also, there's a weird... the other thing about guys who fall off the side of cliffs or side of buildings or something, and then they grip them, or they climb back up the rope. At some point, when they're like 80 stories up, they get their head up to the floor and they go, "Thanks, bro." My feeling, no. I'm still out of the building. Like I'm not doing a victory dance until you fucking pull me until we get in the lobby of this building.
Premature celebration.
Yeah, they get like yes. Even the women go, "Thanks, Bobby." It's like you're still outside the building, bitch, and you're just hanging on. If you took any woman I know and said, "Look, we're just going to blow out the window on the 80th story. I'm just going to hang you out the side, no ropes, no harness, nothing. You just put your elbows up on the tile," I don't think she'd be relaxed.
No.
All right.
Planking.
Grip is the number one fake action star quality, and you can't make a movie without grip.
Yeah.
There is no action movie that doesn't involve grip. At some point, The girlfriend falls out of the car and you grab them, the firemen hold. At some point, you're sliding off the top of the plane or the building or something. It's all grip. They never talk about grip. They never go, well, who had a better grip, Schwarzenegger or Stallone? It's always grip.
But Stallone.
It's the phoniest thing ever. And all Tom Cruise does is grab shit.
Yeah.
He's spent more time outside of airplanes than inside of airplanes in this franchise.
Third class.
If you tallied all the time spent on the airplane versus all the time spent outside of the airplane, there would be more outside the airplane.
My dad actually got drugged by a C-130. And the story's pretty quick where he just got
dragged
on the static line.
Oh, drugged.
He got banged up again. My dad cracks up harder than anybody at that.
Wait, was he trying to jump out of a C-130?
The 82nd Airborne, somebody stopped the line of guys who jump out the back with a static line. He shoved the guy, and the static line caught his arm. He got hung up on the plane, banged a couple times, and then...
So he dragged behind the plane?
He did.
At altitude?
At altitude, and walked it off.
That's a dude.
That is a dude. You love your dad.
Static line, there's no free fall in the static line.
No,
right?
you come out, they pour you out of the back of a C-130. It was a giant cargo plane. Everybody jumps out there, attach it. All their equipment flies down below them, and they open the chute. And, you got to get down to the ground as soon as possible. So if the enemy's firing at you, you don't have much time.
You know why I could never work on any action movie?
Why?
Because, like, in Fast and Furious 5 or 6 or whatever it was, they got the C-130. They all got their super buggies lined up. And then they all were going to fly over the target, the mountain target, and they're going to parachute out the back of the C-130 and down and then release the parachute and then take off, which is all fine action sequence. But here's why I couldn't work on any of these. They pulled all the cars into the C-130 forward, and then at some point when they got to 28,000 feet, the gate opened, and they all backed out. And I would argue that you should back into the C-130. Like Dr. Drew backs into the spot in my parking lot. Every time he backs in because he likes to shave a couple of tens. He's always in a hurry. He gets in his car, he leaves, and he wants to shave 14 seconds off backing. Right. But if you were going to be, let's just ask everyone you know. If somebody said, you're going to have to put your car in a C-130, and then when we get up to 20,000 feet, you're going to drive out of the back of the C-130, wouldn't you load it facing the back of the C-130? There's no weight distribution problem. But you think you'd like to drive out of the back of the seat, not be looking over your shoulder? You're adjusting the mirror. Some guy banged your mirror. You going to the side. You hit the side of the C-130 because you're not going straight.
Scrape.
You're already driving a car out of an airplane. Let's do it in reverse.
Like
Make
let's
it more
add
difficult.
a little extra difficulty level to this endeavor. Why would you not load those? And by the way, you got all the time in the world to load up the C-130. That you do that the night before. Right? It was like, we're in a hurry. I would argue everything you put in the C-130 is probably back it in because you have guys on the ground. You're sitting. Well, first off, you're on the ground, right? You're on. Why is everyone backing out of this C-130?
Optics. Well, I guess, you want to be in your seat looking up at the sky.
I would also argue you guys are driving highly modified vehicles that do not have all the mirrors and all the sensors and all the stuff. You got a 72 Challenger with a Hemi in it. You can't see what's behind you. Every single car... See, this is why I couldn't work. I couldn't work because I'd go, why they, but they'd be backed in, right? Yeah, no. I'd go, no, of course. You have 11 cars all backing out of a C-130. And by the way, they're side to side. They could hit each other. Okay. And wouldn't you want to be oriented forward when you went out of the C-130? Like, would you like to have your back to the ground? Would you like to be looking out the front windshield as you went into the wild blue yonder? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you want to be there? It's insane.
Everybody's dropping like a stone. I feel like this is the best documentary I ever watched.
Oh, it's a great doc. It's great. Now, the whole reason they did this is because Tyrese had to try at the end to not get pulled out because they knew he was going to chicken out, and they had to fire it out from the back of the car. They could have done it from the front, but it's better from the back, and so that's why they had to do it. But I would argue there is no world. Let's just say this. If the Navy SEALs were pulling some kind of deep covert ops, trying to get bin Laden's cousin or something, and they loaded up those cool quad buggies into a C-130 and they were going to parachute out over Afghanistan, would they ever not back them in? Would they back out of a C-130 blindly? Blindly just sail out of the back of a C-130? All right, so that's fake. But grip is still the fakest.
I figure if you had that kind of grip, you'd have a forearm like a ham hock.
Grip is, I think grip.
You'd be all day with those 70s squeezy
spring things.
You know what I mean? Or you'd be constantly with the extra hard stress ball all day under your desk while you're doing spy stuff.
I think grip is hereditary.
Kinda.
I think it's kind of like male pattern baldness and stuff like that. I knew dudes who had crazy grip. I never did. Now, I was sort of strong in other ways, but I never had grip. I had friends that had grip, and then I had a friend who had like crazy, nutty, intense grip.
And then there's like grip natural and trained together.
Yeah.
Like the guy who can take a nut off of a lug nut off of a car with his bare hands just because he's been, wrenching so long.
Yeah, I haven't met that guy, but I get what you're saying.
I have.
Nobody takes a lug nut off a rim.
I've seen him do it with my own eyes, bud.
Please.
I'm death grip.
No. Nobody said death grip for like 200 foot-pounds of torque. But all right. But no, look, there are guys that have... my friend Chris used to put his hand on top of my skull, and he just starts squeezing my skull to a point where it felt like his fingers were going to pop through my skull.
Let me tell you, Coach, you go to jiu-jitsu for about 6 months, and man, you turn into a different animal. My grip turns into steel.
Really?
Because, if I have a jacket and we're fighting with the jacket, because you hold on to this, it makes your hands so damn strong.
All right.
Meaty fingers. Everybody,
the jacket's the jacket of the gi?
Sorry, gi
okay.
jacket. I'm saying
jacket.
like a cool guy.
No, I get it. All right. So look out for Tom Cruise and grip, because that's going to be the entire movie. And now he must have a harness when he hangs off the side of the biplane, and then they must cut it out.
Yeah.
But that's really him hanging off.
Oh, yeah. He's still doing that stuff. That's wild.
All right.